G'day friends, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today's video is all about extracting a panorama out of video footage you already got from your drone. Now sometimes we don't get enough time to take all the shots we want, and in this video I'll show you how to do that. So if you want to find out how to create a panorama from video, stick around. Welcome back and thanks for joining me. So I was on the internet looking for some software to stitch some pictures together from the DJI drone to put it into the Panorama, and I found this awesome software called Image Composite Editor. It is from Microsoft and it is free, and there's a particular feature that you can take video from your footage and create it into a panorama. So what I did is I dug up this old video that I took in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney when I was first starting to drone the Phantom 4. Now you can see the images are a bit too washed out. They were captured in the middle of the day and these haven't been color graded, so they're not that good. But at about a minute 30 into this video, I actually found a particular good position there where I did this pan, and I was thinking maybe I can turn it into a panorama. So around this stage I sort of started panning around across this ravine, and I kind of butchered it. I turned around too fast, it was all jittery, but I was thinking to myself, this would be a really good, example to use or to try out with this new software. So I got to about a minute 53. So I'm going to remember those times, and I'm going to show you an example in Image Composite Editor. So I'm going to open the actual file. So it's O2. This is a very simplistic menu. It has 4 different stages that we're going to discuss: the import stage, the stitch stage, crop and export. And I'm going to take you through those stages, but I think the first thing that we have to do is actually figure out where we're going to start the actual capture process of the images we want to use for this particular pano. So as I told you before, this particular sequence started at about a minute 30 or thereabouts, and what I want to do is obviously not make it too wide of a pano, and I just want to make sure that I capture it just as I start turning the drone around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set as the start of the actual capture. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to progress the video to the exit point. So I'm going to play it, and I'm going to keep an eye out when I want to stop. And what I want to make sure is I capture the outcropping where I was standing when I was taking this particular shot, which is about here. We're starting to see it right about now, and I think around here is pretty good. So as you can see, there I am, and it's a nice little feature that I want to sort of capture my panorama, and I'm going to set it to the end. So now we've got a bit of footage where the Image Composite Editor is going to do its job. So we hit the next button, and that takes it to the stitching area. Now the first stage, which is the analyzing the video, that is about 33%, so it's the first third of the process, and we'll fast forward to until we get closer to the end of this stage. Okay, so that took about a minute. Now what it does, it aligns the images, and then after they're all aligned, it creates a composite image, which is the one we're going to see right about now. So there it is. Now look at that. So this is the actual image itself, that it's created a composite from all the different frames from that video. And because this was 4K, it is really, really good quality. And now you can sort of manipulate the video to get a better look of it. But the software is very clever because you can actually change the projection you want. There's some pretty funky ones that you can use. Obviously, the spherical there if you actually had a sphere. But these, some of them look pretty warped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use a cylindrical one. Now you can adjust the positioning of this particular pano, but if you want to get back to the original orientation, just set all the degrees back to 0, and then that'll bring you back to the initial image. And what we're going to do is we're going to then go to the next stage, and we're going to crop it into something that we could use as a panorama. So here it is. So it's used its best effort. As you can see, it's gone to the widest. Now it's got an auto crop feature, so you can press that button. What it does, it sort of captures all the pixels without any loss. So you notice it's avoiding all the gray areas. Now, obviously, it all depends on what you want to capture in this particular panorama. So you can play with it as much as you want. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to position it where I can get a little bit more of that base, because I think that's a pretty interesting feature. So what I'm going to do is reduce the width of the panorama and increase the height, and then I'm going to try to not lose anything and try to make sure that I don't get any gray areas. But one of the features of this program, that is really cool, is that it does this auto generation feature just like Photoshop does. So let me give you an example. I'm not going to use the auto crop, because what that's going to do is it's going to cut out the bits and pieces that I may want to use. But I'm going to go back for a second and I'm going to reset it. First of all, though, I'm going to include all the bits and pieces of the image that I want, and I'm going to use this autocomplete feature. And what that does is that it fills out the gray areas just like Photoshop does. Now, it's not as good as Photoshop, obviously. It doesn't use this ingenious sort of content creation. So some of these clouds look a bit funky, but it is very convincing for a free piece of software. And I'm really content with these results. Now, obviously the quality is not awesome, but what you can do is obviously export this to Photoshop in the next stage and create something a little bit funkier. Now you can play around with the image size, you can change the scale, make it smaller. It also has the ability to change it as different type of formats. It also lets you export it to HTML, so you can make it like a web page, so you can post it on your actual website. I'm not going to use this feature. I'll play around with it at a different time. And it also has this feature, which is a photo synth, which I believe is a Microsoft service that I don't use. But for now, we're just going to export this image to disk, and we're going to give it a name. And I'm running out of ideas, so we'll just call it, I don't know, Pano 1. That's really creative. And we're going to save that. So now let's go and have a look at this image, the way it looks in file. There it is. And there it is in full screen. Like I said, this is not color graded, and this is needs to go through a little bit of correction. But look at that. From a pretty janky video, we ended up with this awesome panorama. So give it a go and let me know what you think in the comment section below. And there you have it, friends, a panorama extracted using Windows software from a DJI drone video you've captured in the past. That is a good way to recycle some footage and get some beautiful images from it. After all, they're all captured in 4K. So if you like this video, give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, ciao for now.